having any doubt up to
Sir.
now?
No doubt, sir.
Yes. Okay, now we'll continue from there. That is, okay, so finally the embryo sac has reached the three-celled egg apparatus. That is the one, okay, in the egg apparatus we'll find one egg cell and two synergids. And opposite to this, okay, egg apparatus we'll find three antipodal cells. And next, in between these two egg apparatus and antipodals, we'll find two polar nuclei at the center of the embryo sac. And next, we already said, okay, the two polar nuclei eventually fuse. Okay, the two polar nuclei eventually fuse to produce a diploid secondary nucleus. This happens just before fertilization. Okay, after the entry of pollen tube into the embryo sac. After the entry of pollen tube and discharged its male gametes into the embryo sac, then only the two polar nuclei will fuse and results in the formation of a diploid secondary nucleus. Remember this one clearly. Okay, this is very, very important. And next, the pollen grain. Okay, the pollen grains are developed inside the anther. So after the anther get matured, the anther burst open. That means the anther is broken down and releases the pollen grains outside. Okay, this is what we call the dispersal. Okay, pollen grain after dispersal from the anthers are carried by wind or various other agencies to the stigma of a pistil. Okay, that means other agencies means it may be insects, birds, or animals. Anything by any means or by through any different agents. The pollen grains, because the pollen grains by themselves they can't move. So they need some support from certain agents like wind, water, or animals like insects, birds, okay, or reptiles, even mammals, like this. Okay, they will take the help of different agents, and finally the pollen grains are transferred onto the stigma of a pistil. Transferred to the stigma of a pistil. And this process, the process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma, we call it as a pollination. Okay, the process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma, we are calling it as a pollination. Once the pollination is done, that means once the pollen grains have reached the stigma, okay, and next the pollen grains germinate on the stigma. That means, okay, the pollen tube will emerges out of the pollen grain. Once the pollen grain falls on the respective stigma, okay, the pollen grain germinates. Okay, here the pollen germination means, okay, the process of formation of pollen tube or the process of emergence of a pollen tube from the pollen grain. When it is a fallen on the stigma, we are calling it as a pollen germination. Okay, the pollen grain germinate on the stigma and the resulting pollen tube grows through the tissues of stigma and style and reach the ovule. So that means gradually this pollen tube, which is produced from the pollen grain on the stigma, pyrosis through the stigma, enters into the style, passes through the style, reaches the ovary, enters into the ovary, and inside the ovary, what are present? Ovules. And finally, the pollen tube will enter into one of the ovule that is present inside the ovary. Okay, so that is how. That means from stigma, it enters into style, and from style, it reaches the ovary, and from the ovary, it enters into the ovule. And inside the ovule, what is present? Embryo sac is present. Inside the ovule, what is present? Embryo sac. Gametophyte is present. So pollen tube enters into the embryo sac. The pollen tube enters the embryo sac where two male gametes are discharged. So each pollen tube or each pollen grain or each pollen tube, okay, carries two male gametes, which is the unique feature in angiosperms. We can't, okay, we don't observe such a phenomenon in any other groups of plants. Okay, that is the pollen grain carrying two male gametes. Okay, usually up to gymnosperms, the pollen grain carry only one male gamete. But the angiosperms will find a unique feature in which the okay, the pollen possess two male gametes, and those two male gametes will passes through the pollen tube, and finally they reach the ovule, and finally the pollen tube enters into the embryo sac, and the two male gametes are discharged into one embryo sac only. Understood, all of you? Anybody is having any doubt? If anybody is having any doubt, you can ask up to now.
No doubt, sir.
Okay, okay. So the pollen carries two male gametes, and these two male gametes will enter into the pollen tube, and the pollen tube will carry the two male gametes up to the embryo sac and discharges the two male gametes into the embryo sac. And next, remember now very clearly, this is the very unique feature in angiosperm, which is not observed in any other groups of plants, only in angiosperms, whether it is dicotyledon plant or monocotyledon plant. This feature is unique in angiosperms. That is double fertilization. Double fertilization is the unique feature which is observed in angiosperms, and it is not observed in any other group of plants. Okay, what is this double fertilization? Okay, when you observe here, we already said the pollen tube will carry two male gametes, and five male gametes are discharged into the embryo sac. And what will do these two male gametes? Okay, when you observe these two male gametes, out of the two male gametes, one male gamete fuses with the egg cell. Okay, one male gamete which is a haploid, one haploid male gamete fuses with the one haploid egg cell and results in the formation of a diploid zygote. And this process we call it as a syngamy. Okay, which we call it as a syngamy. Okay, the process of fusion of a male gamete with that of female Here the male gamete is carried by the pollen tube, whereas the female gamete, the egg cell represents the female gamete. Okay, the embryo sac is a female gametophyte. Only the egg cell is the female gamete. Understand? Only egg cell is the female gamete. So the male gamete fuses with the female gamete, that is egg cell, and results in the formation of diploid zygote. And this process we are calling it as a syngamy. And this one we can also call it as a generative fertilization. Okay, this process is also called as a syngamy, generative fertilization, and first fertilization. And fertilization. So these are the three different words. Okay, any word we can use it. We can call it as syngamy, generative fertilization, or first fertilization. And next, okay, so the function of the first male gamete is over. And we already said the pollen tube will discharge two male gametes. And what happens with that of a second male gamete? Okay, already we told you no. Okay, at the center of the embryo sac, we'll find two nuclei, which are called as a polar nuclei. Two polar nuclei are present. And next, after generative fertilization or after syngamy, these two polar nuclei will fuse and results in the formation of diploid secondary nucleus. Okay, diploid secondary nucleus. Okay, diploid secondary nucleus is produced, and this is diploid secondary nucleus fuses with the second male gamete. Okay, the diploid secondary nucleus fuses with the haploid second male gamete and results in the formation of a triploid primary endosperm nucleus. Still, these are nuclei only. The nuclei only fusing. Okay, the male nucleus, the male gamete, which is only a nucleus only, that male gamete fuses with the second male gamete fuses with the diploid secondary nucleus and results in the formation of a triploid. That means three sets, because two sets already there with the secondary nucleus, and the third set is added by the male gamete, because the male gamete is haploid. So totally three sets. So we say triploid. Triploid primary endosperm nucleus. In simple, we call it as PEN, primary, P, primary, E, endosperm, N, nucleus. Primary endosperm nucleus, PEN. Simply, we can call it as a PEN. And this process, we call it as a triple fusion. Because the three nuclei are fusing now. Two of a polar nuclei and one of a male gamete are fusing. So that's why we are calling it as a triple fusion, which is also called as a vegetative fertilization and also called as a second fertilization. So this syngamy and the triple fusion together, we are calling it as a double fertilization. So first fertilization, second fertilization. Okay, generative fertilization, vegetative fertilization, syngamy or triple fusion and triple fusion. So whatever it is, so there are two events occurring. Two times the fertilization is taking place. One, the male gamete, one male gamete fuses with the egg cell, and resulting in the formation of diploid zygote that is called as syngamy. And the second male gamete fuses with the secondary nucleus and results in a triploid primary endosperm nucleus, which is called as a triple fusion. So the syngamy and a triple fusion together, we are calling it as a double fertilization, which is the unique feature that we observe in case of angiosperms only. Okay, that is what we can see here. So because of the occurrence of two fusions, okay, that is a syngamy and a triple fusion, this event is termed as a double fertilization, an event unique to angiosperms. Unique, that means which is observed only in angiosperms. Okay, that is. And next, and later, what is the function of this endosperm nucleus? The zygote develops into an embryo with one or two cotyledons. In dicots, the embryo develops with only with two cotyledons, and in monocots, the embryo develops with only one cotyledon. So, what is the fate of zygote? Means the zygote develops into embryo. Depending upon the type of the plant, whether it is a dicotyledons means it have two cotyledons. The embryo will have two cotyledons. And if the organism belongs to monocotyledons means the embryo possesses only one cotyledon. And next, what is the fate or what is the function of a primary endosperm nucleus? The primary endosperm nucleus develops into endosperm, which provides nourishment to the developing embryo. So what is the function of primary endosperm nucleus means? Okay, the primary endosperm nucleus develops into endosperm, which is a highly nutritive tissue, which will provide a nourishment to the developing embryo. So the developing embryo cannot take nutrients directly from the plant body. Always the embryo obtains nutrients through endosperm from the plant. That's why the formation of endosperm prior to embryo formation is very, very important. Because if there is no endosperm, the development of zygote into embryo cannot take place. That's why first, even though the double fertilization happened, okay, that means even though the zygote is produced first and later the sperm nucleus, but first the zygote will not develop into embryo. First, the primary endosperm nucleus first develops into endosperm. After the formation of certain amount of endosperm only, later by using the nutrients that are obtained from the endosperm, the zygote start dividing and they give rise to embryo. So first, during fertilization, zygote is produced first, later the primary endosperm nucleus. But during development, which will occur first means the endosperm formation from primary endosperm nucleus. So first endosperm, certain amount of endosperm is produced from the primary endosperm nucleus. Later, the development of zygote into embryo will take place. Understand? Okay, that is so the primary endosperm nucleus develops into endosperm, which will provide nourishment to the developing embryo. And next, after fertilization, we'll find synergids at the time of the embryo sac consists of synergids and antipodals, because the egg cell is no more because it is converted into embryo, and the polar nuclei are no more because they fuse to form secondary nucleus, and they finally fused with one second male gamete and formed the primary endosperm nucleus. And what are the other structures that are left over means antipodals and synergids. And these synergids and antipodals, after fertilization, they disintegrate or degenerate. They have no role further. They simply disintegrate or degenerate after fertilization. The synergids and antipodals degenerate after fertilization. Okay. And next, during these events, the ovules develop. That means what are the other events that will occur after fertilization inside the flower? After fertilization, during these events, the ovule, that means during the development of primary endosperm into primary endosperm nucleus into endosperm, and the zygote into embryo. These are all happening inside the ovule. And what is happening the outer side means the ovules are converting into seeds, and the ovary develop into fruit, and the ovary develop into, that means during a development of embryo from the zygote, what are the other events that will occur with the flower means the ovules develop into seeds, and the ovaries develop into fruit. Almost remaining all other parts of a flower will be withered. That means they are dried and they are dropped. That is sepals, petals, stamens, style, stigma. These are usually they are dropped. Only the structure that are left is the ovary and ovules. After fertilization, the ovules are converted into and the ovary is transformed into a ovary fruit. Okay. Okay. Here you can see the life cycle of an angiosperm. Okay. Here you can see the plant. Okay, we'll start at one point. So we started with the plant. Okay, the plants bears flowers, and the flower consists of the major organs of the flower is the male reproductive organs and female reproductive organs. The male are stamen, which consists of filament and anther. Filament and anther, we can see. Okay. The anther consists of a microsporangium, that is pollen chamber. And inside the pollen chamber, we'll find the pollen mother cells. And these pollen mother cells will undergo meiosis and produces microspores. And these microspores later develop into pollen grain, the mature microspore or pollen grain. And this pollen grains from anther, they are transferred onto the stigma. And this process, we are calling it as pollination. Okay. And next, coming to the female. The female sex organs are called pistil, and it consists of mainly the three parts. You can see here the lower swollen part. This lower swollen part is called ovary, and we'll find a long, slender tubular structure. This is the style, and at the tip of the style, we'll find a little bit expanded structure, which we are calling it as stigma. It is a receptive, and it receives pollen grains. And next, inside the ovary, we'll find the ovules. We can see here. And inside the ovule, we'll find a tissue called nucellus. And out of a large number of nucellar cells, only one cell will be transformed into megaspore mother cell. And this megaspore mother cell will undergo meiosis and produces 4 megaspores. Out of these 4 megaspores, usually only one will die embryo sac, and the remaining 3 usually undergoes a disintegration. Usually undergoes a disintegration, and that leftover megaspore will develop into a mature female gametophyte, that is the embryo sac. Okay, we can see the embryo sac here. Okay, we can see the 3 cells that are present towards one end, and these are called as this group of 3 cells, we call it as egg apparatus. In that, the centrally located cell is the egg cell. On either side of the egg cell, we'll find 2 more cells. They are called synergids. All these 3 cells together, we are calling it as egg apparatus. And opposite to this, we'll find another group of 3 cells. They are called antipodals. And in between the egg apparatus and antipodals, at the center, we'll find 2 nuclei. They are called as polar nuclei. Okay, and these 2 polar nuclei, at the time of fertilization, they fuse and results in the formation of second diploid secondary nucleus. And now, okay, whenever the pollen grain is deposited on the stigma, okay, the pollen grain germinates and forms the pollen tube, and this pollen tube passes through the tissues of stigma, style, ovary, and finally reaches the ovule and enters into the ovule, and inside the ovule it enters into the embryo sac. Once it enters into the embryo, the tip of the pollen tube is ruptured and it discharges the 2 male gametes. We can see here 2 male gametes, okay, or 2 male nucleus are discharged into the embryo sac. Out of these 2 male gametes, one fuses with the egg cell to form the zygote, and the second male gamete or male nucleus fuses with the secondary nucleus and results in the formation of a triploid primary endosperm nucleus. And this this process of syngamy and a triple fusion, we are calling it as a double fertilization. After double fertilization, okay, the primary endosperm nucleus develops into endosperm and the zygote develops into the embryo. Okay, and this embryo may consist of either 1 cotyledon or 2 cotyledons. And this, okay, and which are enclosed inside the seed. The ovules after fertilization get matured and converted into seed. And the ovary after fertilization get matured and develops into a fruit. And these seeds, when they are fallen in the soil, okay, under suitable conditions, it give rise to a new plant. That is the total life cycle of a angiosperm. Understood, all of you? Anybody is having any doubt? Anybody is having any doubt, ma?
So once again, can you recall this topic, sir? Last or few minutes, sir, what you thought?
Okay. Any other? Anybody is having any other doubt? Okay. So when you observe here, okay, the flower represents the sexually reproducing organ in case of angiosperms. Okay, when you observe the male reproductive organs, the male reproductive organs of a flower we call it as stamens. When you observe the stamen, each stamen consists of mainly two parts. One is a long, slender, thread-like structure called filament. And at the tip of the filament, we'll find a structure called anther. Okay, the anther possesses microsporangia. Microsporangium, okay, which possess pollen mother cells. Okay, this microsporangium or pollen chamber consists of pollen mother which are diploid, and this pollen mother cells which are diploid undergoes meiosis and produces four microspores, and these four microspores will develop into or will undergo maturation and finally converted into four pollen grains. So each pollen mother cell can give rise to four pollen grains. But a large number of pollen mother cells will be present in each microsporangium. So we'll get some thousands of pollen grains from each microsporangium that is present inside the anther. And next, once the pollen grains are matured, the anther breaks open and releases the pollen grains outside. And these pollen grains which are discharged are carried either by the wind or some other agents like water or any other animal like insects, birds, reptiles, mammals, like this. And they finally transfer to the stigma. This process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma, we are calling it as a pollination. Okay, that is with reference to male reproduction and reproductive organs. When coming to the female, okay, the female reproductive organs are called pistil. The female reproductive organs are called pistil. A pistil mainly consists of three parts. Okay, the swollen base of the pistil, we are calling it as ovary. From the ovary, a long, slender, tubular structure arises, which we call it as a style. At the tip of the style, we'll find the stigma, which is receptive and receives the pollen grains when the ovary is matured. Okay, and next coming to the female gametophyte production. When you observe the ovary, the ovary which is the lower swollen base of the pistil, which we are calling as ovary. The ovary encloses the megasporangium, that is the ovule. The ovules represents the megasporangium. And next, when you observe these ovules, okay, the ovules consist of a tissue called nucellus. That means inside the ovule, we'll find a tissue called as a nucellus. And this, okay, a large number of tissue is present or cells are present in the nucellus, but all the cells cannot develop into megaspore mother cell. Only one of the cell that is present in the nucellus, only one of the cell in the nucellus that is present inside the ovule has the ability to transform into megaspore mother cell. This megaspore mother cell will undergo meiosis and produces 4 megaspores. One megaspore mother cell which is developed from one of the nucellar cell undergoes meiosis and produces 4 megaspores. Okay, in 92% of the angiosperms, in the 92% of the angiosperms, okay, out of the 4 megaspores, the 3 will disintegrate or disintegrate or disappear or get dissolved, and only 1 megaspore will be remain. And that left megaspore will undergo maturation and develops into female gametophyte, which we call it as embryo sac. Okay, the leftover megaspore will undergo maturation and develops into a female gametophyte or mature megaspore, which we call it as an embryo sac. So, mature megaspore, female gametophyte, or embryo sac, 3 different words are same. And next, what is this embryo sac? What consists of? A embryo sac, a mature female gametophyte, is described as a 7-celled 8-nucleate structure. 7-celled 8-nucleate structure. Why we are calling it as 7-celled 8-nucleate structure means, that means it consists of 7 cells and 8 nucleate. Then only we say that the embryo sac is mature. Okay, how it is formed, that one we'll discuss in +2. Okay, under the second chapter, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. At that time, we'll discuss in detail how it is formed. For now, no need. Just you understand that embryo sac, in case of angiosperms, is said to be matured when it reaches the 7-celled 8-nucleate. Those 7 cells. We already said at one end we'll find a group of 3 cells which we called as egg apparatus, and this egg apparatus consists of 1 egg cell and 2 synergids, so 3 cells. And opposite to the egg apparatus we'll find a group of 3 cells called as antipodals. So 3 plus 3, 6 cells. Where is the 7th cell? The 7th cell is the entire embryo sac. That means all these cells are present in another large cell that is called as central cell. So one central cell, 3 cells that are present in egg apparatus, and 3 cells that are present in the antipodals. So totally 1 plus 3 plus 3, that is 7 cells. And where are the 8 nuclei? Okay, 3 nuclei that are present in the 3 cells of egg apparatus, 2 nuclei that are present in the 2 cells of central cell, and 2 nuclei that are present in the 2 cells of antipodal. So totally 1 plus 3 plus 3, that is 7 cells. And where are the 8 nuclei? Okay, 3 nuclei that are present in the 3 cells of egg apparatus, and 3 nuclei that are present in 3 antipodals. And next, when you observe in between these two, at the center of the embryo sac, we'll find 2 more nuclei called polar nuclei. So 3 nuclei of agapparatus, 3 nuclei of antipodals, and 2 nuclei of polar nuclei. So totally 3 plus 3 plus 2, that is 6. 6 nuclei. So 7-celled 8 nucleate. Then we say that the embryo sac is matured. Whenever the embryo sac is developed with 7-celled 8 nucleate, then only the stigma becomes receptive and receives the pollen grains. Okay, already we told you through different agents, the pollen grains which are discharged from the anthers are transferred to the to the stigma. This process of transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma, we are calling it as pollination. Once the pollination occurs, the pollen grain is deposited on the stigma. And this pollen grain which is deposited on the stigma will germinate. That means the pollen grain will form the pollen tube. That means one of the pollen tube will emerges out of the grain, and it passes through the tissues of stigma, style, and ovary and reaches the ovule. After reaching the ovule, the pollen tube will enter into the embryo sac. Once the pollen tube is entered into the embryo sac, the pollen tube ruptures and releases the 2 male gametes. The pollen tube carries the 2 male gametes, and those 2 male gametes are discharged into the embryo sac. Okay, and these 2 male gametes, out of the 2 male gametes, 1 male gamete fuses with the egg cell and results in the formation of diploid zygote. This is called syngamy, or generative fertilization, or first fertilization. And later, after the formation of the zygote, the second male gamete fuses with the secondary nucleus, which is formed by the fusion of 2 polar nuclei. That means first there are 2 polar nuclei will be there, and these 2 polar nuclei first they fuse and forms a single nucleus called secondary nucleus, which is diploid, and this diploid secondary nucleus fuses with the second male gamete and results in the formation of triploid primary endosperm nucleus. And this process we are calling it as a triple fusion, or vegetative fertilization, or second fertilization. And this syngamy and triple fusion together we are calling it as a double fertilization, which is the unique feature in angiosperms. That means the process which is observed only in angiosperms. Okay, and later the zygote develops into embryo, and the primary endosperm nucleus develops into endosperm, and the ovules mature to form seeds, and the ovary matures to form fruit. Okay, that is what happens during the sexual reproduction in flowering plants.